Welcome to United Speed World. So we've made it to the machine shop. For those of you that don't know, when I'm not junking, this is where I work. United Speed World in Tampa, Florida. Speed shop and machine shop in Tampa since 1969. So we got the cylinder head off our S10, and we're gonna walk on around back here and show you guys what's going on with that. Tore it all down last night, brought it in, came in a little bit early this morning so that we can get going on some of that stuff. I want to resurface the exhaust manifold because it's cast iron and it uses a steel shim gasket. So I have a feeling that if we don't do that, it's probably going to leak like a mug. And I don't want to tear this thing back apart after it's in the truck. So we're going to do it one time and we're going to do it right. The cylinder head, we got to get it cleaned up, pressure test to make sure all the valves are sealing. Then we'll resurface it. Intake manifold, we're going to just throw it in the hand parts washer and get some of the grease and debris off the sealing flange there. Valve cover, we'll throw it in the spray washer with the cylinder head so it'll come out nice and sparkly, and you know, it'll actually be aluminum whenever we're done with it instead of black grease. All right, let's get this belt sander fired up and we'll resurface this exhaust manifold. So I've been cutting on this thing for a while. It's starting to get a little bit warm, in fact, but I just wanted you guys to see how bad this thing is. So all this shiny area is the area that, you know, the belt sander has already cut and, you know, got it down to good clean metal. And all this area around here, it hasn't even touched it yet. Just starting to get into it. Somewhere around here, it's actually pitted pretty bad from where some of the water had got in there and just ate away at this cast iron. So I'm glad we're doing this because it would have never sealed if we'd have just put it back together. Just one of those little things. And like I said, you couldn't get to these bolts back here, so you'd almost have to pull the head again just to be able to get this thing off. So took an extra step and we definitely did it the right way. So I've been cutting on this thing for a while. Like I said, you can see all the shiny spots of where it has and hasn't cut. Some minor pitting around here still left. Not scared about that at all. There's this area over here that's still quite a bit darker. I'm not going to keep cutting on this manifold because when we do that, we're only making it thinner and it's going to warp even faster next time. So now that it's, you know, a better surface than it was, I'm comfortable that it's going to seal. When I put the gasket on, I'm still going to put some sealer, a light bead of sealer around it up here and down here, around all the ports actually, just to make sure for all the little imperfections. But the belt sander is just starting to graze all this. It's got it cleaned up, but it's not perfect brand new finish. It just makes no sense to cut one that far. There's no point. It's going to seal just as good now as if we cut it perfectly flat. So we're going to quit while we're ahead on this. Not going to invest too much time and efforts here to only decrease the life of this exhaust manifold. And that thing is ready to bolt back on in my mind. So we got our intake manifold. It's got just a bunch of greasy residue on it. We'll let this mineral spirits break down some of this, get it all scrubbed up. I didn't want to put it in the spray washer because I was being lazy and didn't pull the injectors in the rails. So we're just going to do a quick scrub on this. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're not building a show car here, but we do want to get rid of a decent amount of this debris that's on here so that we don't have to worry about anything being dirty and getting in the way of that O-ring sealing when we put all this back together. We got our #1, sometimes #2 employee, Ray Dog, on the scene here. He's going to wire wheel the head, then it's going to get pressure tested, put in the spray washer, and we can see what's good and bad on this thing. So this is a spray washer. It's got those big pipes going up through it. It's kind of like a giant dishwasher for engines, and it has these jet nozzles that spray all around it, like 200-degree water and solvent in there. So everything comes out of there pretty clean. Look at that, we put in a grease ball valve cover and it comes out as a piece of aluminum again. All that old brown goo and debris is gone around all the valve spring area where that crusted oil just caked in there. It's like brand new. Ray's got the vacuum gun and he's going to put it on each port exhaust, and then we'll flip it over and do the intake. And when you pull the trigger, it sucks a vacuum on that port and it'll tell us that valve's sealing. So that one's got 20 inches of vacuum there, so that valve's sealed. That's a leaker, 10 inches. Dang, 23. 20. Well, so far she's going to need a valve job. Let's see what the intake side has in store for us. Not bad. That's a leaker. There's a leaker. 24 and a half, pretty good. The seats are just trashed on these heads. Of course, that moisture that was laying in there has rusted all the seats, so there's no way that those valves were ever going to seal. Definitely going to have to do a valve job on it and get these valves all sealing like they should be. So we got our other #1 employee, Dennis, on the scene here, getting ready to cut the 2.2 cylinder head. So he's got it in the fixture that sets it up in the resurfacer so it's nice and flat. Get it locked down in there. All right, so we made the first 2 light cuts on the cylinder head, and you can see all the shiny area through here of where the cutter's already touching it, and those center bolts that were completely loose when I was taking it apart, it hasn't even begun to touch it out there. It's still all dirty metal. So we're gonna keep cutting it till it's all nice and flat, and then the head gasket will be able to seal on it. So we're back at the house. We got the head all out of the machine shop. They completely rebuilt it, took care of it. This thing's like brand new now, if not better, because it's exactly that clean and probably has a nicer valve job than what it had from the factory. So I'm gonna get this thing unwrapped, get it ready to install in the truck. I'm gonna wrap it here, show you guys a little sneak peek. Guys did a great job on this head, knocked it out for us. Now we can get this truck back together and keep this project rolling. Clean, just like brand new, inside and out. There we go. She's looking good. Nice surface on that, good and flat. That gasket's going to seal with no problems. That purple dye they just put on there so they can, when they put on the valve seat, so they can see when they cut it, the nice pattern, and make sure that that valve's going to seal before they pressure test it. But head's ready to go on. That's going to be boring work, time-consuming work. You guys have already seen how it comes apart, so you don't need to know how it goes back together. It's just the exact opposite. You can rewind the previous video. Well, as you can see by the green goo that we're pouring in it, we're making some progress. Now we're at the point where we get to find out if I made any mistakes or not. First mistake will be is if we got the coolant leaking right back on the ground like it was when we bought the truck. Second mistake, who knows, could be a lot of those. We'll get this thing filled up and see if it'll crank. So I haven't put the air filter assembly back on it yet because that's just more pieces in the way in case if I have done something wrong, which there's a great chance that I did do something wrong, but we're going to find out. Let's get this funnel out of the way. We'll see if it'll crank. Then we'll let it run for a little while, circulate some coolant, and then we can keep topping it off until it's full. It's alive. I'd say we did something right. Well, look at that. We don't have any more indicator lights on. That bright little yellow one that tells us that we have an engine in the truck, it's turned off, so I'm kind of concerned that we don't have an engine in the truck anymore. I'll have to pop the hood and check that one. Not only is it alive, but it's running and driving. Great running little truck, really smooth. Head job worked out great on the truck, and it's very satisfying and rewarding to buy something that you have to winch it onto the trailer, roll it into the shop there, tear it all apart. You know, the engine's halfway apart when the head's off of it, put everything back together, and you just always have that feeling that, oh man, what I leave loose, or what's going to leak, what's going to be the next problem. But so far we didn't have any of that stuff. It's running awesome, maintaining a great temperature. It just sits right on the 195 thermostat as it should, because we put a new radiator. The entire cooling system's brand new, all the hoses, water pump, everything, even the heater hoses we replaced, just because they were the originals and that stuff gets worn down and crusty. So this is a good, reliable truck again, great running, and hope you guys enjoyed it. It was quite the adventure tearing this little thing down and putting it back together. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel because we've got some more projects coming up. Make sure to share it with all your friends. We appreciate all your support on this YouTube channel. We'll keep doing some cool stuff, and I hope you all continue to enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.